Wow. Chase's champ, Martinsville at its finest. I would have to agree there. Um, yeah, that was something. Oh, we're gonna get into that, Raptor. Don't you worry. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about Ty Gibbs because it's absolutely hilarious. Best bush race. Oh man, it's been a while since I've seen someone call it a bush race. I like it though. Best bush race. I don't even have a bush car in front of me. This one is a that's an Xfinity car. That's a nationwide car. Let me think. Did I ever go to a bush race? No, they were all nationwide races. Bush was gone. Hello, plastic fork. I never did like Ty, and this doesn't help. I would agree. However, I will say the Sam Mayer Ty Gibbs rivalry is just getting better. Like, I love it. I love having a nice bitter rivalry, and honestly, this only makes the rivalry better. So I don't even have any disappointments. Um, Sam, I'm a little annoyed that Sam Mayer wrecked Noah Gragson again. That was kind of annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah. All right, let's get into it here. So, yeah, where do we start? I guess we can start with the race having a rain delay and Fox's coverage. I literally turned it off. It was cringing. It was hard. Their rain delay coverage needs some work. They need work everywhere, man. Fox is they're slacking. I feel like they rely too much on personality and not enough on actual broadcast talent. That might be their problem, because man, it is like hard to watch sometimes. But honestly, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the first two stages were pretty relaxed. I will say the part that's still just frustrating. They showed a graphic at the end of the race. 100 caution laps. 100 caution laps out of 258 or something. Like, that is way, way, way too high. That was just, ew, wow, that was idiotic. I can't stand that many caution laps. But yeah, no one's talking about Brandon Jones winning. How can you not go into the fight? I mean, that's what that's what built the sport, was the fights. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Brandon Jones kind of just came out of nowhere and won. But that's every race of Brandon Jones' career is like that. Like, this race was a perfect example. The top 6 cars all had issues and fell out of the race, and he just walked into it. And today's race is a little more like, they had strategy and they were running 5th, 6th, and then just restart, crash, restart, crash, restart, crash. He gets to start 3rd on one final restart. Boom, wins a race. Like, the best way to put it is Brandon Jones is the best I got it. Brandon Jones is the Alex Bowman of the Xfinity series, because he doesn't dominate races. He doesn't lead a bunch of laps. He never really shows that high-end race winning level speed, but randomly out of the blue, boom, he'll win a race. And you're just like, I didn't see that coming. I have no idea how it happened, and I guess that's what happened. Like, it happens on a regular basis. Look at all of Brandon Jones' wins. They're literally like that. It's actually crazy. So yeah, if you want to talk about backing into wins, look up every single Brandon Jones win and watch the final 50 laps of whatever race that was. The only time I can remember one where I'm like, okay, he's got it, winner, was Phoenix. That's the only time I've seen Brandon Jones legitimately go out and win a race. Every other time he literally backs into it, just like they always say about Bowman. So yeah, that I totally get that. Yeah, I guess we can go. We'll go to the first part. It was the caution with I want to say it was around 10 to go. There was a caution for Dale Jr. spinning, and NASCAR took the race down to a green-white checker for a single car spin, which he got going right away, and they took it down to a green-white checker. That infuriates me. Why are you burning extra laps under yellow when there's no cleanup? You just had a caution. Literally, a car spun going into the first corner. We do not need to have 2 cycles of pit stops. We don't need to have an extra lap for this, an extra lap for that. No. Literally, as the pit car comes out, pit road's open. You can go in and pit, or you can stay out. and we're, choosing at the line. Like, get this stuff re-racked and rolling again. It's ridiculous. When you have a crash on a restart and they spend 7, 8, 9 laps under yellow, it's just ridiculous. Like, get the race going. I mean, I can't imagine being a fan in the stands just watching them run laps under yellow because, oh, TV wants more time. It's like, I paid for a ticket for 250 laps and you're just burning my laps. Oh, I said, there was a graphic. They ran 100 caution laps tonight. 100 caution laps. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. You cannot be burning laps. You have to have a sense of urgency. That big pile up in turn 1, it was a 20-minute red flag. Okay, I understand the red flag. The track was blocked. There was garbage everywhere. I get that. Why did it take 20 minutes to clean up? This is not a big raceway. This is not Daytona. You are not cleaning 1 and 2 of Daytona. You are cleaning 1 and 2 of Martinsville, the smallest 1 and 2 on the whole circuit. Again, I understand a red flag. I understand taking time to clean up. 20 minutes is too long. Have a little hustle. Like, act like there's some urgency. That's my problem. I need to see a little urgency because every other racing series in the world, by the way, the cleanup crews have urgency. They have a job to do. We got to get this cleaned up. We got to get the race going. We can't just sit here running under yellow. We got to get the race going. NASCAR, it's like talking to your county workers. I'm sorry, I got a 15-minute break. You'll just have to run 15 extra laps under yellow. I'm on break. We'll talk about it later. It's like, dude, we got a race to go. Like, what are we waiting for? So, man, NASCAR has got to get this stuff cleaned up. Like I said, 100 laps. I don't care how many cautions there are. That's inexcusable. You can say, oh, there was 15 cautions. That's close to the record. You're right. It is close to the record. You're still averaging over 6 laps of yellow. Or maybe it's more. It might even be 7, 8. Like, you shouldn't be averaging that many laps of yellow, guys. That's the point. You shouldn't be averaging that many laps. I understand. Martinsville's a short track. That being said, I also understand a lot of single-car spins. I mean, look at the Justin Allgaier caution. The guy gets loose going into a corner, they throw a caution, and he drives off, and they spend 6, 7, 8 laps under yellow again. It's like, what are we waiting for? Let's go. When there's no cleanup, no car has crashed, it literally drove itself back, and they got their car taken care of, and they're back out on the track. Just get racing again. Get the product going. In Formula One and IndyCar, and you see these other series, they have urgency. Like, they do not want to have a yellow. They don't want to have to stop the race, but when they have to, they do. And then as soon as the track is ready, boom, we are racing. We are getting this thing back going again. They are not going to wait for TV and run 3 extra laps of yellow because we got something to do. So, yeah, that was infuriating. I mean, absolutely infuriating. Then with about 2 to go, we have this just ridiculous restart. I still have an issue with this. I don't know what happened with Sam Mayer. I don't know if he spun the tires. They said he spun the tires. I was watching the replay. It looked like Ty Gibbs jabbed the brake going into the restart zone, which is something that has infuriated me forever. Like, I'm sorry, NASCAR, if you see a guy at all when leading the race touch the brakes in that restart zone, flag him, send him to the back. Like, that stuff is what creates more pileups than just a regular restart. Like, aggressive driving is one thing, but when you purposely stack the field up, you're creating that mess, and that's what drives me nuts. I mean, I'm going to call it out. The Penske guys have done it for years, where they go into the box, they slam the brake, then they go, and then the whole field stacks up, and there's a crash on back somewhere, and they caused it by jabbing on the brakes. That's unacceptable. You have to keep that going, and if NASCAR doesn't police it, it just continues. So, I mean, as I said, I don't know if that's exactly what happened. It looked like it because it looked like there was a random, lurch backwards, and then the one lurched backwards, then he spun his tires, but either way, if it didn't happen, I'm still calling it out because I hate it. I hate the idea of jabbing your brakes and then hitting your gas pedal, trying to get somebody to, have to basically spin their tires and stack up the whole field. Just roll, get the restart rolling. The point of a restart is to get the race re-rolling. The point of a restart is not to create chaos. So if realistically, at Martinsville, they should be accelerating in the middle of 3 and 4 and rolling up out of the corner, because then you don't have to worry about these massive amounts of wheel spin. You can just let people roll up out of the corner. So that's just my opinion, but it drives me nuts. So yeah, then we have that huge crash. Takes forever to clean up. They did finally get it cleaned up. And on the restart, I thought it was going to be a lot more like dive bomb like, and it really wasn't. Like, Brandon Jones just simply ran a better line than Ty Gibbs. And Ty Gibbs left the bottom open. He took it, and Brandon Jones just passed him clean. Like, there was no contact, nothing there. Going through 3 and 4, Brandon Jones was kind of pulling away. Gibbs sent it in too hard, went up high. He was trying to kind of pinch back down. I think he actually got a bump from Sam Mayer, who was side by side, by the way, with Landon Castle for third. So he was just held his line. Gibbs was too high, so he stuffed his nose in there. And there was contact coming out of the corner, and those two kind of rubbed. But at the end of the day, they both were straight. They both got across the line. I understand being a little upset with the bump going into the corner, but it's not like Sam Mayer lost his control of his car. He was driving and racing the 10 just like normal. So I don't know if Ty just had a really bad run through 3 and 4 or what happened, but at the end of the day, I can't really blame Sam Mayer for much of that because he didn't really race that different. I mean, it's not like he overdrove the corner. I mean, he was still right on the door of Landon Castle the entire time. Landon Castle was up on the curb. He was right on the outside of him, and Gibbs was on the very outside. So, it's just a product of Martinsville, really. I don't really think anyone was at fault. So they get back to the line. Allmendinger squeaks by on the bottom, by the way, wins the 100,000, which I love. I love the idea of Colleague getting that. They're a team with, they're a big team, but they're not a Junior Motorsports or a Gibbs. So I like them getting a little bonus. So they've got a little more money for the shop, hopefully to get those cars up to speed and a little bit faster. And then 2 of them, Allmendinger and Castle, are qualified for Talladega, so that's nice. But yeah, then you go through the post race, and you've got Gibbs beating on the back bumper and just destroyed the front end of his car, trying to wreck Sam Mayer after the checker. They go to pit road. They get stopped. They both get out of their cars. Gibbs runs over to Sam Mayer with his helmet on. I don't know what was said. He gives him a shove and then walks off. Well, then Sam Mayer walks back after him, and then the tussle starts because, for some reason, Gibbs thought you can just walk over to a guy and shove him, and he's not going to come back and do anything about it. That being said, after the whole fight's over and after the Joe Gibbs guys got all over the place, I mean, they got some Junior Motorsports guys in there later, but there's so many people there. It didn't last. It wasn't like the Noah Harrison Burton fight where you had punches, then finally someone gets in. It was literally one swing and then boom, you've got guys wrapped up and tackling each of them. So that's kind of annoying because it drives me nuts when you have that kind of crap. But, I say just let them fight, but, maybe there's a line, but I don't know. Just get these crew guys out of there. So yeah, then in Ty Gibbs' interview, he literally says that Sam went up to him and shoved him, and I'm just like, no, man, you went up to his car. So I don't know. I'm not on the Gibbs train by any stretch. I think Sam Mayer did everything he was supposed to do. He raced the race. He didn't really knock Gibbs out of the way besides just running the outside lane and taking what's available. It's aggressive. I'm not going to say it's not aggressive. It was an aggressive move, but it's, after the stuff we've seen out of Ty Gibbs, that's nothing compared to what Gibbs has done. So, he should be the last one to be mad about it. So yeah, it was one heck of a race. I'll say that. Again, still really, really frustrating at some of this stuff though, man. 100 laps of yellow. That is bad. I mean, you have got to do something about it. So let's go into the chats here quick. I am way backed up on the chat. So let's go in here. We're going to start halfway down. So if I missed your chat, resend it and we'll go from there. So we've got NASCAR Fan 04, the Brandon Bowman, or Brandon equals Bowman. Love it. Yeah. I mean, I said it, just look at the body of work. They just match. Now that I do think Bowman is a better overall driver, obviously, but in terms of how they win races, spot on match. Let's see. Clyde Ryder says, Race Grays, what was the first I think it's Noah Gragson, NG you pre-ordered? My first Noah Gragson car was actually his 2017 Switch truck. It was one of my first diecast reviews. So if you go all the way back to late 2017, when that truck came out, I had a review of his truck and Christopher Bell's truck. They were exclusive from KBM, and that was my very first Noah Gragson car, which, by the way, is no longer in my collection. I actually sent it off, had it customized into a Martinsville win, and I gave that to my sister, who is a big Noah Gragson fan. That was her birthday gift. She got a customized Noah Gragson Martinsville win from 2017. I do still have a Noah Switch truck. Don't get me wrong. I got another one. But the original truck from that diecast is actually it is in her collection. All right. Raptor Racing says, I just can't with Ty. Hey, we're all talking about it, right? It's good for TV, right? Did I see Johnson's injuries? NASCAR Fan 04? Yes, I did. He sounds like he didn't let go of the wheel fast enough, and he got the steering wheel whipped around and hit him. And for those who don't understand why that happens, it's basically the wheel gets whipped around. And the biggest reason you don't see as much of it in NASCAR is the wheel is round. So it's like this. If you're holding it, it may clock your thumb, but it's not going to like hurt your wrist. Where an odd oval or, kind of handle shaped steering, when that flips around, it'll come around and nail you right at the base of your hand there. So when it flips, it clocks your hand right there. So that's why you see more of those injuries in IndyCar, is because the steering wheel is not a circle, so it doesn't spin in a circle. It whips around, and it has that oval that really will hit your arm or wrist. So I was at his first one at the Daytona Road Course and was a fan ever since. Hey, everyone's got to have their well, let's see. Are you talking about Chase or are you talking about Ty? Because if it's Ty, you go ahead and have it. But I'm no fan. I think, he's always driven the fastest car in every series he's ever been in. He's always had the best equipment, and I think that's fine. But I think at some point the day of reckoning comes, and he's not going to be able to race Cup guys like this. They're going to get after him. All right. Raptor Racing, Ty is not Intimidator. Jeff says Ty Gibbs also got called in the NASCAR Hall for going fast under caution. Yeah, that was early on. I feel like he should have been called later in the race for wrecking or slamming into Mayer after the checkered flag. NASCAR not supposed to like the whole tearing cars up under yellow. Now again, fights, let them fight. I say let them fight, but the whole slamming in the back of Mayer and wrecking his own car, I mean, that's just stupid. I don't understand that, but it would be cool to see Junior win one more time. I agree. I do think if he ran at least a car that had run full time, he'd have a better shot. I think that 88 literally is a team that only runs random races, so they don't really have a huge notebook to go off either. So I'd like to see more Hendrick guys come down and run the Xfinity races, just on occasional, to run that 88 car and maybe get some notes and stuff in it. That might help the performance, because you're kind of shooting blanks when you come into a track like that. Raptor Racing hates him so much. Don't go up to someone and then say they walked up to you. 100%. Also, don't punch someone with your helmet on. Absolutely. Let them fight. Chase is champ. Yep, I agree there. AM57, the Ryan Blaney fan. There we go. Yikes. Take the helmet off, Ty. I agree. I mean, I get being mad and having your helmet on, but what I don't understand is how he literally didn't take his helmet off until after the confrontation had already almost started. Like, dude, get your helmet off quicker. Like, come on, man. All right, let's see here. Remember when NASCAR let them have at it? Yeah, NASCAR forgot. Well, I mean, they not really, because they still let them have at it. The stupid official was still in the way. Don't get me wrong, but when they say to have at it, they used to penalize people for this. Like, oh, pit road incident, you're all on probation, no fighting, and it's like, nah, that's good for the sport. So, what is the first next gen you pre-ordered? Chase Elliott's Napa car is the first next gen car. First race win is going to be probably the Logano or the Cindric car, depending on which one shows up first. I get all the race wins. If you guys didn't know, the website is going to be strictly raced versions this year. Mostly just trying to make it easier on myself to do website content or the videos here, but also I still have a full-time job on the side of that. So focusing on just race win elites, race wins of every series. And then that's kind of where I'm at. I still have the sprint cars and some other stuff like that, but the regular next gen elites, I've kind of zoned off on at the moment. If I have a little more free time, I may still offer them too, but let's see here. Gibbs is like the Kyle Busch minus Kyle's off-track behavior. I mean, early in the career, maybe. Kyle Busch, honestly, is one of the best drivers in the Cup Series. He honestly races people the most fair. Don't get me wrong. He makes mistakes, but when he makes mistakes, he does own it. So I actually really, really respect Kyle Busch now. Early in his career, I did not. I think Kyle Busch early in his career definitely had a temper. That being said, watching him mature has been really nice. So Ty Gibbs has got a little of the Kyle Busch early on, but not quite as bad. Not quite as aggressive, so... let's see. No next gen. Let's see. Still a major choke job from Ty. I would agree. I mean, he just missed the corners. But then again, he also had, a lot of restarts in a row. So Gibbs will not last long up no matter. Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, he does have a lot of funding behind him. So it's sad that the car means more than the talent now. Yeah, unfortunately, you still have to have talent. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, if you look at it, Kyle Busch was in that 54 car and won every race, and it wasn't close. Like, Kyle Busch was in that 54 car 5 times last year, won all 5 races, dominated most of them, And so, there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, when you see a guy like Ross Chastain, he would hop in a car that was decent and make it run better. Every hot car he hopped in got faster. And that was what made you say, this guy's got some talent. When you have a guy that hops in a car that Kyle Busch wins in and win in it, well, that's good. But did he win 5 for 5 like Kyle? No, and he shouldn't. He's a little younger, but the point is still the same, is you have this kind of imbalance where you have a car that is clearly the class of the field, and you should be winning every race. So when you don't, it's you, not the car. Same thing tonight. What do you think is going to happen to Ty? Nothing. Nothing ever does. Hey, it's me, Rattles Diecast. I am not on my phone because I got my phone taken away. Oh, well, don't get your phone taken away. Behave yourself. Honestly, cars have meant a lot since the 90s. You weren't going to see a team ran by Morgan Shepherd run top 5 every week back then. No, you wouldn't, Jeff, but what you did have was almost 1,000 horsepower. And that amount of horsepower was huge. Talented guys could get in cars and they wouldn't win, but they would run really, really well. And that was the biggest kicker, is because there was so much horsepower. When a rookie that was worth their spit got in that car, they made the car run faster, and you could see a significant change in how well the car ran. And I think that's the biggest thing that you miss. When you lose the horsepower and you make the cars more tight, and you make all those advantages, in terms of like all the little advantages mean more because of that horsepower difference, you can't quite see it. And so when you have 1,000 horsepower and very little aerodynamic downforce, you will put a lot more of that in the driver's hands, and you can see it. And this year is a prime example of that. Every tiny advantage that a team had from last year, all the tiny little aerodynamic things that all add up to tenths of a second, are gone. And there's still some out there, don't get me wrong. But you can see the Trackhouse guys in the world putting good cars together. You can see Chase Briscoe. We know he can wheel a car. He's doing well. You can see guys that, frankly, we all know they struggle at certain tracks. Bubba Wallace struggles on certain tracks. He's not good this year at those tracks. I think he's going to run well this weekend. But same thing goes for Cole Custer. He has trouble on some of the mile and a halves. He hasn't run well at a couple of them. Like, you just see that the drivers are able to take it into their hands and give it a little something. Like, their driving talent matters. And that's the biggest thing that has been missing, is the car meant so much more than the driver. And the driver still mattered, but now the driver, it's increased. It's still not as high as I want it. I want more driver control. I want more horsepower, put more of it in the driver's hands, but you're seeing it slide in the right direction. All right, let's get on to more chats here. I found all plastic Ryan Blaney cars, car Menards had to get it. Oh, is it I know what you mean. It's like those 1/32nd scale almost. They're a weird size, but they're at Menards. They're pretty cheap though too. Boa Media. Gibbs is the definition of a hypocrite. He complains when someone does the same exact thing he did the week prior. Like, the whole situation shouldn't even be considered, knowing what happened last week. The dude literally just like straight up said he wasn't going to run the bottom of the corner in 3 and 4 and ran Nemechek up off the bottom. That's it. And he just admitted to dirty racing there. And then today he gets bumped, which you can say is dirty racing, but again, it's not like Sam Mayer overdrove the corner like he did last week. He drove the corner normally. Ty Gibbs was just slower, and he got bumped. And, he still got to the line 8th. He did lose some spots, but it wasn't just all on Sam Mayer. Ty Gibbs blew the corner. And don't blow a corner, man? Clyde Ryder says, I pre-ordered Kevin Harvick's Busch Light. Sorry if I made you mad. Hey, I've got a Busch Light, or 2 Busch Light cars. One of them is right up there. That is the Kansas win from 2018. And then I have his Bristol win from 2020. So I got a couple Kevin Busch cars. And then I actually have a Outback Steakhouse car as well. All right, let's see here. Cole Custer took the 07 to victory lane, so the driver talent still matters. It does, but you got to remember, that Cole Custer 07 car, that's a Stuart Haas prepared race car. There's a big difference between that and what Joe Graff Jr. is running. That being said, Joe Graff Jr. is still garbage. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. The talent and the driver skill still matters, but we have to chill out a little bit on the idea that, Ty Gibbs is just running like no one else ever could. Like, the 54 car, people forget, John Hunter Nemechek hopped in that thing and won a race last year too. Like, he only ran like one race, I think, and he won in it because the thing was that good. Martin Truex Jr. hopped in it, almost won the race because he made mistakes. He didn't win the race. Same thing for Denny Hamlin. He made mistakes at Darlington and didn't win the race. And so at the end of the day, the 54 last year, no matter who was in it, was the class of the field. It had Cup Series drivers' notes in it and a Cup caliber crew chief on it. Like, we're not going to really know what Gibbs is compared to Cup guys until he gets up there, because he is the class of the field. I think Gregson and Lambert can give him a run at some tracks this year. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's, he sat on the pole almost every week. That car in straight up speed is the fastest. So not much you can say past that. The truck series is pretty good. Yeah, they actually kept the race fairly clean. They didn't have a total crapshoot like this one, so I guess it wasn't quite as bad. I like the shot of Coach Gibbs pouting. Yeah, I didn't see that shot. I'm assuming he wasn't obviously thrilled. His car got wrecked. His grandson didn't win, but what are you gonna do? He's got Kyle Busch on his team. He's probably dealt with it before. I went to a vintage toy store. Chase's Champ says, I went to a vintage toy store for the other day and found teddy bears from the inaugural Brickyard 400. Those probably people thought were going to be worth a lot because teddy bears and Beanie Babies were like the thing, and then people realized they're not. So, but hey, if you like them, get them. All right. Sadler Revel says, I am planning to get Martin Truex Jr.'s 2021 Phoenix win in 124th. I have to double check if I have those on my site. But yeah, if you're looking for the 2021 Phoenix and Darlington, I should have one in ARC or Elite on the site. Let me know what you're looking for. I can put them up there if they're not up there already. So, just in case. I mean, as I said, I always like to plug my own the RAS Diecast page. That helps obviously fund all the videos and stuff like that. So. But, all right, Raptor Racing says, I hope they make the Byron win. Yeah, I would hope they did. They said they weren't going to make the Blake truck, which I guess part of that's just Byron doesn't sell quite as much as maybe Bowman or Chase or Larson. But that being said, I think with him winning, that will probably be offered, and I assume would get made. So it'd be interesting. I wonder who's going to run that car next week, because that number 7 truck has run a few races, and they look pretty good. All right, Clyde Rider says, I only collect ARC because it's sitting on my shelf and I don't really see and I don't really care, to be honest. Hey, all good, man. That's always a preference thing. I get ARCs where I have to, but I do like the Elites. I think it's the interior, the antennas, and just having a nice heavier car just feels nice. So, but I totally get it. The ARCs do look just fine. So, but I do like I think the Elite details just gives you a few more options personally. All right. AJ Gaming says, hey, sorry I'm late. Sorry, AJ. Hopping off. Goodbye. I'm just kidding. And then Chase the Champ says, who's my pick for tomorrow? I mean, how do you not pick Chase Elliott? He's on the pole, always runs well at Martinsville. As long as they don't have a big pit stop error or a massive adjustment failure, I do think they're going to be good. He was the fastest in almost every lap average, so I think they've got a heck of a car brought in for Martinsville, so I like Chase's chances tomorrow. So obviously I'm a Chase Elliott fan, so I got my bias, but, sits on the pole, fastest in practice, fastest in about everything else. Like, you put all that together, I like his chances. If the 22 comes back to Xfinity Series, who would you like the driver to be? Personally, I would love for them to go with a driver that has not had a fair shot in high-end equipment. Obviously, everyone knows my bias, and I'm going to say my bias. I think I would love to see Brett Moffitt in that car. I think he is one of the more talented drivers. Looking at his history in K&N, racing against Blaney, Bubba, LaJoy, Hemrick, and all those guys, and he was the better car that year. I think LaJoy won the title because Moffitt got wrecked in the final race or something like that. I can't remember. It was pretty controversial, but Larson, I think, was in some of that too. I think he was in one of those classes, but ran with all those guys and competed right on the same level as them. So, he realistically, when you look at all those guys that made it to Cup, and he outperformed most of them when he was in that series and never really got that shot with a high caliber Cup team. So I would love to see him get a chance like that. When he had a chance in a decent truck, he won a championship in it. Should have won 2 more championships. He did score the most points both of those seasons. So he wins a championship in 18, gets kicked out of that ride, goes to GMS in 19, scores the most points, doesn't win the championship because the championship system is completely flawed. Next year they changed crew chiefs, changed numbers and all that, changed teams basically, and the truck ran like garbage. And by the end of the year, guess what? He should have won the championship again. Scored the most points. He didn't win a lot of races, but he scored the most points. And by the end of the year, he was, one lap away basically from getting the white flag. And then Dawson Cram happened. And so, yeah, I mean, I think the results speak for themselves. You look at what Nemechek's done, which is great, but we have some evidence of that, but he just never had a chance in some better equipment because there's just no funding. And I'd like to see him get a chance. I think he'd do really well with it. Raptor races has got to go. Well, have a good night, Raptor. Hopefully you enjoy the race tomorrow. Let's see here. What is my opinions on NASCAR 21 Ignition? I never bought it. Never bought it. I thought it looked like crap. I played a demo once, and I hated it. I didn't think it was very good. Driving mechanics, not great. I heard it was glitchy. I heard to basically... my thing on games anymore is I wait and see how good they are from someone else. I'm not going to spend my money until I see how good a game is. Because, so many games come out and they're glitchy and buggy and they never get the things working right. So I never really played 21. My personal favorite NASCAR game in terms of game was NASCAR Thunder 2005 or NASCAR. Yeah, I think it was, no, Chase for the Cup. I think NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup. I thought that game was great. I loved the concept of Thunder plates. I loved the way that you had the street races where with street cars and the way you would settle like rivalry fights and things like that. The fantasy tracks, all that stuff that EA had in there was awesome. The racing quality in terms of the actual racing like simulator or just how you drive it on controller, not great. I will say I didn't care for that part of it. But in terms of all the features and all the stuff that the game had, I mean, that thing was loaded. It was a great game. There was so much to do. You raced and earned points so that you could buy Thunder plates and you could get new paint schemes. And then you had a career where you would sign autographs. You'd have to hit all these buttons to sign the autographs. So that was by far my favorite game. Racing-wise, I love the NASCAR Inside Line. Not Inside Line. The NASCAR... yeah, it was the Inside Line. NASCAR Inside Line was good. AI had some trouble. But NASCAR 14 and 15, the way you raced it with using the trigger throttles on Xbox, it just felt really good. I loved the way that game raced. I thought it gave you a better chance to like really race a lot of the tracks. Daytona was always a trouble spot for me, but I could race most other tracks pretty effectively, and it was really fun. I really liked that game. All right. NASCAR fan says, I feel like there's going to play this like Elliott v. Harvick situation. They just quietly step back and let it go while NASCAR will play it out way too long. Yeah, I mean, maybe. But here's the thing. Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs have a long history. I mean, people don't remember this, but I think it was last year at the Roval, Ty Gibbs dumped Sam Mayer for literally no reason other than he just doesn't like him. So these guys do not like each other. Like, Ty Gibbs has consistently had run-ins with Sam Mayer. So I do think this is going to continue just because they have so much history and it doesn't show any sign of stopping. That doesn't mean it's right, but it just that's what I'm saying. I've seen it before, so I see it again. All right, AJ Gaming. Did anything come out about the weird radio between Elliott and Gustafson? Nothing really came out. The suspicion is that they got the wrong tires on the wrong side of the car, which it's an error that's really annoying. But I mean, Denny Hamlin's crew did it too, or Martin Truex crew did it in 2019 and cost him a championship. So, better at Richmond than a championship, but it's still kind of annoying when it happens that they grab the wrong side tires. So that's what the suspicion is, AJ. I'm not sure though. That being said, I will still harp on Alan Gustafson has some horrible pit calls. So once you figured out if that was the case, that the wheels are on the wrong side, why are you not the very first car to hit pit road and get fresh tires? Not saying you do it right away, but he was like the 7th or 8th car to hit pit road in that cycle of pit stops. And it's like, you have the tires on the wrong side. You're slow as crap. Like, yes, you will pit early because you're needing to get the right side tires on. You're going to have to put more laps on those tires, but you're kind of stuck with it. Like, this is what you're stuck with because of the error. No sense of running slower lap times because of, an error you made. You may as well get the error off the car and start running faster laps and give yourself a shot to go forward. So that part still frustrates me. But again, I do think the strategy is their weak point. Cloud Rider says, yeah, I understand. And plus, if I order 50 cars, I'm not paying $5,000. I don't have that money with car payments and stuff. Hey, I totally get it, man. I highly recommend every time you have a chance to get your car paid off, because cars, and when I say cars, I'm talking the car you drive. Your daily driver, it doesn't appreciate in value. So get that thing paid off, just because having no car payment is so nice. And then, at the end of the day, a lot of diecasts will become cheaper later on. But I definitely recommend pre-ordering if there's one you really like. The Larson Sprint car is a perfect example. That thing sold out way early, and I don't think those are going to be worth less than 500 in 2 years. And that's a high number, I know, but I've seen it with sprint cars. They get really high in value. So if someone's offering it for 300 now, it's still expensive, but 300 now versus 500 down the road. I bit the bullet and paid just over $500 when I bought my Chase Elliott Homestead car. It was a lot of money, most expensive diecast I have ever bought. But that being said, now the car sells for over $1,000 easy. So, I'm glad I got it when I did. All right, here. So Chase's Champ says Ford needs more drivers in their pipeline. They absolutely do. And not only do they need more drivers in their pipeline, they need to actually give some support behind them. Haley Deegan's probably going to need to move up in the next couple of years, just because the truck series, there's not much to be learned there. The trucks don't have enough horsepower. They literally ram into each other at the short tracks. I just don't think the racing quality is there out of the trucks right now. I just think they got a lot of work to do over on those trucks. So, yeah, they definitely need to do some work on those. Let's see. Do you think Hamlin's Richmond win will get produced? I do. I think Hamlin's win will get produced because the lower production numbers needed. And I think FedEx, if it doesn't get made by the initial pre-order quantities, I do think FedEx will step in and buy it, or somebody did with the Las Vegas win last year. So I think the same thing could happen easy. All right. Spinmeister. I stopped pre-ordering video games after I got burned by Star Wars Battlefront 2. No, I get it, man. I pre-ordered Black Ops 4, and I'm a huge zombies fan, and the zombies in that game was garbage. That being said, they were supposed to support the game for like 3 years. It was supposed to have a huge life cycle, all this content, and they literally canceled all the content after the game came out. And it was just like, dude, that was like half your selling point, was that you were going to do all this support, and they literally canceled so much of the game that it wasn't worth it. Seller Review Revel says you might like Tony Stewart All American Racing. What are you talking about? The gosh, why am I forgetting the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. SRX, that's what it is. Superstar Racing Experience. If you're talking about that, for sure. Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about video game. I'd have to try it. I've never heard of it actually. NASCAR 2011, NASCAR 14, 15 were lit. Absolutely, I agree. Clyde Ryder, they were so good for the racing part. The paint booth was awesome too. Those were awesome, but yeah, I like the racing. They did have a lack of content that was just like race or do a season and a slight career, and that was it. So they needed a little more. Have a good night there, Clyde Ryder. AJ Gaming says, yeah, that's what I thought. I just got done playing Minecraft, so that's why I was on late. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the race. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, I would definitely check out some highlights. So there's some good stuff. NASCAR fan, will you have Cindric's Indy win on the store? I was there and Lionel sold out. Oh, really? I think I have the ARC on the store. I'll have to double check because I had to go through and take a few off when I was trying to clean out how many products are on there, just because it's hard to stock items when you don't have a brick and mortar building. So, I haven't checked, but I will have to double check that. So check the store, check RAS tomorrow. If I have the ability to get a hold of one, I will put it on there. And I may already have one on pre-order. I got to just double check. I got to go through some numbers, taxes and all. Okay, and then AJ Gaming says, I was building a hockey rink for my friend, and check out the highlights. Definitely check out the highlights. Hopefully they'll enjoy the hockey rink, but anyway, guys, that'll pretty much wrap up the video for tonight. It is already almost midnight out there on the East Coast. We got another night race coming tomorrow, so it'll be pretty good. I got, we'll do probably a stream right after the Cup race, and then there's actually an F1 race tomorrow night at like midnight. So I definitely have a video of some sort tomorrow. Just depends on what time I decide to hop it on there. So AJ, what was, I see you said, well, one more question, so go ahead. I'll hold for it. So but yeah, tomorrow should be good. So I think it'll be exciting to see the next gen cars. It looks like they're going to race Martinsville pretty well, so I'm pretty pretty pumped up about that. I'm excited to see what they can do. But I haven't got this car out of here for a while. This car had a neat little mark over here on the right side. This race was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, because he basically like passed all these cars because he literally, I want to say top two got taken out by lap car. Then the next two took each other out. Him and Gregson are side by side for the lead, and Gregson blows a tire. Just like literally, the top six cars all have issues and wash out of the way, and he just gets to drive off to victory. And Tyler Reddick still almost came back and beat him because he was that slow. Yeah, whatever. It was the weirdest thing. All right, AJ. Okay, do you have the Elliott Championship gear from 2020? And when will you review Kyle Busch's 20-5 Homestead win? I think that's 2015 is what you're asking. I do have a review on the 2015 Homestead win from the ARC days, and I'm talking way back. This was one of my early videos back in 2017. I had the ARC, so there might be a video for that one. The Elites, I don't know when I'll be able to get to those reviews. I want to be able to get there, but right now everything's in totes. So, but yeah, I do have the Elite, so I will have a review if I haven't already. I'm going to go through when I unpack, and I'm going to basically check off the box if it's had photos and reviews done on them. And if they have, then they can go on display. And if not, they're going to go in a pile, and I'm going to have a big old pile to do reviews for. Finn says, as a longtime Ty Gibbs disliker, it's nice to see the fan base collectively turn on him. Man, I've always had issues with the way he races. I just don't like the way he just knocks people out of the way like it's no big deal. I mean, you can tell the kid has never worked on a race car, because he'll wreck a car just for fun. He'll just brake check somebody and destroy their front end like he did to Mayer last year, or this year when he slams into the back of Mayer and tears up his car. Like, come on, dude, let's go. Let's grow up a little bit, shall we? You know? Yeah, and at least when he fights, it's like, can you at least hang in there, not give it a push and then run away? Clearly tell he didn't want anything of that. Yes, NASCAR fan, I will have another collection tour. Again, it will be once I get all moved. So right now everything's sort of all packed up, or at least semi-packed up, ready to go. I'm currently sorting through and kind of selling off the odds and ends of the collection to try and get it trimmed down so it all fits into totes. So right now I can even show you guys, like, here's my setup. This is the person. I didn't want to box those up yet. I saw that in person. That's a prototype that has no box, so I just like to put it there. That's just a backdrop. That's actually website stuff, but that's website, staging, things that are like waiting for other parts and pieces before they're ready to ship. So if you order like 4 items and it gives you discounted shipping, I gotta wait till all 4 come in to ship them, because just to make sure I don't have to pay 4 times the shipping. Same with whoever buys them. That being said, if you ever want one early, just let me know. I'll gladly get it shipped for you. But so that's what that all is. That's all staged up, ready to get shipped off the website. Those ones down low are going to get relisted on eBay. Those over there are going to get listed on eBay. And then those totes are all of the cars in my collection, minus the Casey Kane ones. Those are actually back up there on the shelf. So you can see those there. Those are all getting ready to roll. So that's all the Kane cars back there. The Sprint cars and Daytona 500 cars are also tucked away. So, yeah, that's why I haven't done one of those in a while. So, where did your old backdrop go? The old backdrop's still around. I have the 187s all tucked away. They're kind of just all bagged up or boxed up. They're not in boxes anymore. I had to kind of take the cases down, so they're all bagged up in an upstairs bin. So I do have all those 187s still. They're just bagged up. But I do think this backdrop was a little bit easier to handle because it doesn't have a clear window to the back, which is just basement stud on a wall. So I don't know. And it allows me to show off the new. Anyway, let's see here. Do I have Ellie? Oh yeah, we already did that. Did I see Joe Gibbs' reaction at the end of the race? Pretty funny considering Gibbs' driver won. Yeah, I mean I think I'd have trouble racing for a guy when his kid's racing against you, because he's definitely going to have a rooting interest, and if you move or dump or push his kid out of the way to win a race, he's not going to be happy about it, even though you did your job as a driver and got the team to the win. So it's kind of a weird situation where you have like a mixed rooting interest, and I don't know. I've never really seen it done. The Dillon brothers were never really contending for major wins against each other. So I'd be very interested to see, Dillon versus Reddick, where Reddick comes out on top having to do something to Dillon, how that kind of goes over. Let's see here. Do I think Lionel could distribute into Latin America? Probably not. I think it would always be better to go through a dealer because Lionel has enough trouble getting them into the States. So just let somebody get a bunch of them in and stock them down there, kind of thing. I do think somebody could be a dealer down there for sure. But I do think, having Lionel do regular distributing down there, it would be more trouble. Way more trouble than it's worth. And then, yes, where my yes, where my backdrop went, it's all packed up. Race Craze, you answered? Yeah, I think I answered. Let's see here. Do I have the Elliott gear from 2020? What do you mean by gear? No, so when you say gear, you'll have to explain what you meant there, AJ. Let me know what you meant by gear, because I have obviously the diecast, and I don't know like what specifically you're referring to. And then Finn asks, is that the Kurt Busch Richmond? No, this is actually a 2013 Kyle Busch Monster Energy car. It's not going to stay this way. Eventually, the Rowdy will be replaced by a Sam Hornish Jr. thing. Needs a Casey's logo down here and a couple other things. But this is intended to become a Sam Hornish Jr. 2013 Iowa win. Maybe it was 2014. I don't remember. But yeah, I was at that race, and so I picked this car up because it's the closest thing to what Sam Hornish was running that day. And so, I wanted to have this one, but it's a 2013. I think it's when the last year they had this Camry style, but yep, that's what this one is intended to become, is that Sam Hornish Jr. Iowa win that I was at. So that's what the job is. Oh, hat, shirt, etc. I have a jacket and a flag and the helmets. So jacket, flag, helmets, and diecast. I don't have the official hat or anything like that. I don't tend to like wearing certain types of hats. I like stretch fit hats, and I like them to be a very specific style. So I tend to only get them if it's if it's that. And let's see here, hat, shirt, etc. So yeah, and I do have the flag. I think I have it folded up right now, but the flag was only a 1-layer flag, so it wasn't thick enough in my opinion. It was only like a single layer, and it's really skinny, so it has to be kind of mounted to a board. Otherwise, it looks really like faded because there's nothing behind it. I can't even pronounce your name, man. But it says, "Can I see Denny Hamlin?" Well, if you're referring to, there's a couple Denny's in the metal chassis 164s, and then I do have a couple Denny's up here. That's the Kansas Win Custom from 2019, and that's the Bristol Win Custom from 2019. So I've seen Denny win twice in the same year, and then I saw Kyle Larson win twice last year. So I'm just kind of known for doing that now, I guess. Actually, that's a weird thing. I have seen so many people win twice. It's ridiculous. Like, I have seen Joey Logano win 3 times. I've seen Harvick win 3 times. I have seen Kyle Busch win twice. I've seen Kyle Larson win twice. I've seen Denny Hamlin win twice. I've seen Chase Elliott once, Brad Keselowski once, and Martin Truex Jr. once, and that's it. Like, I've seen 3 one-time winners, 3, I think it's 3, or is it 2? No, yeah, it's 3. 3 single-time winners, 3 double-time winners, and 2 triple-time winners. And it's weird because you think about, like, yeah, those guys win a lot of races, but the Joey Logano wins I saw were literally his second career win ever, 2012 Pocono, and then 2015 Kansas and 2019 Kansas, or 2020 Kansas, I guess. Harvick, it was 2016 Kansas, 2018 Kansas, and 2020 Bristol. Hamlin, it was 2019 Bristol and 2019 Kansas. And then Truex was 2017 Chicago, Elliott 2018 Kansas, and Keselowski 2019 Kansas. Last year, I did get to see AJ Allmendinger win, so that was kind of cool. But I saw, Kyle Busch win last year, and then I saw AJ and then Larson. I like the hats for my favorite drivers, for my favorite teams like Buccaneers, Dodgers, Warriors, Elliott, and Larson. I do have a Jets hat. I'm a big Jets and Vikings fan for where I live. I'm in the Midwest, so I'm obviously a Vikings fan locally, but I've always just had this weird I always enjoyed the Jets for some reason, even though they've really not been good for a while. Um, but yeah, I have a couple like Jets hats and a couple Jets jerseys and stuff like that. But obviously, racing is my biggest sport. The one that I really like to get into. So let's see, what's the worst paint scheme run this year in Cup? Trick question. All of them. The number placement sucks. Let me think on it. Worst one so far. I'm not gonna lie. There are a lot of really bad paint schemes, and I really don't like them. I am a huge, huge like anti number forward fan. I think the cars look wrong. The number being slid that far forward really does hurt the look of the car. Like, honestly, if you're going to slide them that far forward, just get rid of the number. Like, the number, if it's not dead center on the door, get rid of it. It doesn't matter anymore because the number is so keen to the balance of a car. And I've always explained it this way, but I'm going to stick to it. See how the number is literally in about the same spot. It's here, here, here. It's all kind of right in this center area of the car. It's centered. It's in the center of the car. It's in the center of the car, or as centered as it can be, centered in the car. And then all of a sudden, when you mash it up towards the front, the car doesn't look balanced anymore. So I'm not a huge fan of it. I can't think of any of them that are like specifically the worst. I will say I love the GoPro cars for this weekend, and I'm honestly downright heartbroken that the numbers aren't centered because I would absolutely be buying every finish of it. But with the numbers looking forward, I haven't bought a single car that's not a raced version yet, besides the Elliott Napa car because I always get the standard scheme. But I usually buy a lot of cars, but I just can't stand the look of them. I really can't. And I know a lot of people are always like, "Oh, quit whining about it." It's like I still watch the races, but I do think the cars look ugly. I can't tell who's driving which car when they're kind of running by the screen on like those certain camera views because the thing is so mashed up to the front you can't see it. And I don't know. It's like it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is a big deal. Like how good the car looks is a massive deal. And so I don't know. It's too bad because the cars really did look. I mean, these cars look really good, and when you move the number forward, they just don't look right. All right, let's see here. Your collection is incredible. Keep up the good work. I've been here for years. Awesome. Glad to hear it. It's cool to see how the channel's gotten bigger over time, and hopefully, as time goes on, we'll expand it into maybe a couple sections. I'll have a diecast section, and I'll have hopefully I want to be able to stream commentary for the races where I can't stream the race obviously, but I can do like a live stream with a face cam and all that, and just basically talk about the race and stuff. So that's something I would definitely want to do at some point. Let's see. I've seen 5 Kyle Busch wins out of the 15 races from 19 races, and that's only in Cup. Wow. 5 Kyle Busch wins out. Well, depends on what track you're at there, Finn, because that could have a big role in it. Because that's definitely plays a huge role, especially if you're at Bristol where Kyle wins all the time. 523 view says I agree about the balance of it. Awesome. Definitely the biggest. Oh man, I hate it. There's so many good paint schemes and they're just ruined, man. Denny Hamlin fan 11 says, where did I get my Denny Hamlin Kansas win? Actually, I got it from a seller who has a bunch of custom race wins made, and they sold their whole collection out. And I was looking at a different car they had on eBay, and I was like, "Ooh, I really like the look of this car." So I messaged them. I really like a couple of your cars. Can I combine shipping? And they said, yeah, I have every single raced version from 2015 to like 2020, like every single one. And every other one that wasn't made was custom made. And I said, oh, I have a request. Can I see a 2015 Logano Kansas win, 2019 Hamlin, like every custom win I didn't already have? And sure enough, they had them. And so I bought every custom car that I didn't have already. And I bought a few more. I got probably between 15 to 30 cars from this one person's collection they were selling out. And yeah, it was awesome to be able to get a hold of them because they're really, really good customs. They look awesome. And I'm really happy with how they turned out. And yeah, it was just kind of right place, right time on that one. But the person who made the customs was KVK3 know if they make customs on request. I've seen they have a great Facebook page with some really cool customs. That I don't know who this is, if it's a guy, girl, team, I don't know, but the cars that were made and are on that page, you can see the pictures. They look amazing. So I highly recommend, if you haven't checked it out, KVK3 on Facebook, check them out. There are some really cool customs made. All right. Would I say that the rubber chassis metal wheels are worth the extra $5? It depends on what you like, personally. I will say, I think for certain cars, absolutely it's awesome and it's totally worth it. Because if you're a huge fan of raced versions, like the Daytona 500 raced version, having the non-plastic wheels and tires really does make the car look nicer. It really does. It's a big deal if you enjoy, I hate saying it like this, but when you enjoy holding it. If you're just going to slap it in a case, not the biggest deal in the world. But if you enjoy just kind of, I don't want to say playing with them, because, I mean, I'm a grown adult. But that being said, I still roll them around my desk. I'm not going to lie. I have a car like this, and I still kind of roll it around, slide it. I'll slide it across the desk. I get spinning. I'm a NASCAR fan. It's what we do. I ain't ashamed of it. But that being said, when it's a heavier metal, it does roll nice around the table, and it's kind of just a fidget thing. I don't even know if I have it on my desk anymore at work, but it really is a preference thing. I do like it, but it depends. If you're a person who gets 100 cars a year, and then you had to cut it down to 50, maybe stick with the plastic and still have a nice quantity. That being said, if you only get 10 to 15 cars a year, and you just kind of pick your absolute favorite paint schemes, I would definitely do the metal chassis, because number one, there's a lot fewer made. So a car like this one, this car is going to be really hard to find because it's a really sought after car, and there's not that many made. So the way it works is like there's the same amount of cars made for every driver and every paint scheme. So obviously, like Chase Elliott cars are really popular. So those are going to be harder to find than, say, Michael McDowell cars, where there's not as much demand for them. So, to the collecting side, I do like the metal chassis personally, but for the price difference, man, it's still a toss-up. It really is. Oh, wait, hold on here. I just realized it says stop motion and more. NASCAR stop motion, if you do stop motions, I would recommend it. I wouldn't wreck them. If you're going to crash a car, go get a plastic chassis and crash it. But for stop motion especially, and doing kind of close-up shots and close-up pictures and stuff like that, I think the metal or the rubber tires are going to give you a lot of customization options when it comes to a flat tire and different things like that. So if it's for stop motion, I highly recommend it. That being said, I know it can get expensive. So if you are looking to do all of them at some point, or if you're looking to do a bundle of them, let me know, because if you direct message, for a big bundle of cars, I can always, I work things out. I don't have to follow as much. So, AJ Gaming says, I have seen Ross Chastain win. So that means you were at COTA. That was a pretty cool race. So, and that raced, the Ross Chastain paint scheme from that race was amazing. I loved that car. Man, Ross Chastain's iFly car looked amazing. I love that car. It's going to look awesome. Hey, I'm a bigger fan. Race Crazy inspired me to create my own diecast channel. Well, that's awesome. I gotta see. You gotta send me a video so I can see it. I like to see diecast channels. I like to give feedback too. I don't pull punches either. If I think your channel or your reviews aren't good, I'll tell you exactly why. And that's not from a place of being mean, but just after making them, I've realized, man, there's some videos that are hard to watch, and I totally get it. Finn says, I was at Bristol for the sweep in 17 and Pocono for 4 of those from 17 to 21, which is funny because, like you said, you were at Pocono for 4 years, and Kyle Busch was terrible at Pocono for a massive stretch of his career. And he got his first win at Pocono in 2017, probably when you were there, and then proceeded to win 4 more or 3 more. So that's just funny because you went to a track that he was historically bad at, and then he randomly starts winning all of them. All right, let's see here. AJ Gaming says, I'm also going to Bristol in the fall, Martinsville and Phoenix, but Martinsville is next year. I'm not going to Martinsville yet, but I will be at Bristol in the fall, so maybe I'll I don't know what I'll do. I'll see how many other people are going, but I may bring some cars down in case if anyone wants anything. I may pack some up and bring them down for a day and see if anyone wants to make some swaps. But it depends. I got to see. Last year there wasn't as much to do, so hopefully there's more to do this year. Because last year it was still semi-COVID like, but I hope it's kind of back to normal and everyone's just doing stuff. Let's see. There we go. All right, BK. When you do the live chat of the races, that's going to be cool. Yeah, I mean, the biggest reason I want to do that is because Fox misses so many details. I don't know if anyone noticed today, by the way. Brett Moffitt fell out of the race in the first 10 laps, and they practically never touched on it. Like I just looked, and all of a sudden he's off the track, and I was like, "Gosh darn it!" He qualified sixth, had a great car, and Fox barely touched on it because they're too busy yapping about something else. Like Fox has a big problem of trying to create a narrative instead of just telling you what happens, and the narrative will just come out of that. So like last week is a perfect example. I was just sitting there watching the race, and I said with like 20 laps to go, I said, I'm looking at the timing and scoring, and I'm like, man, Harvick, Hamlin, Larson, Truex, and Byron are all going to kind of come together with like 7 laps to go. It's going to be like all these cars right on top of each other. Sure enough, what happened? Hamlin passes Truex with 7 to go or 6 to go, and passes Byron with 4 to go. And Harvick obviously passed both of them too. Like they all came together at the end of the race. But Fox was so busy with the whole, it's Truex, it's Byron, it's going to be one of the two, it's going to be one of the two. And then all of a sudden with 10 to go, they're like, oh, hey, by the way, here comes Hamlin. It looks like he's fast too. It's like, yeah, I've been watching that for 20 laps, guys. Like, so that's something I think would be fun, is just to be able to do that. Have that kind of just watching the race and pointing out things that the broadcast misses. NASCAR stop motion, thanks for the input. Thanks. Well, I said, if you're doing stop motion, I definitely would love to see it. But I definitely know, depending on how detailed the stop motion you're doing, there's a lot of custom options. And what I would definitely say, don't wreck tires on those if you don't have to. But like if you ever wanted to have a flat tire, you can easily flat spot or shred a tire, and then they come on and off the rims really easy. So you can have like a shredded tire if you ever want to have a tire problem in your stop motion. And then you can just take that tire off and put a good one back on, and the car is good as new. And then you can use that shredded tire later on for something else. So I do think you'll have some options there. AJ says, I was sitting in turn 12. I don't know where that is. I've only seen COTA a few times. I have no idea what turn is that. Here's what I'll say. Let me know if you climb the big tower, because that's definitely something that'd be cool. The new Sonic movie was awesome. Oh, wait, here we go. Did I see the new Sonic movie? Also, hello. Well, welcome in. I did not see it. I have no interest in it, frankly. I've never really followed any of it at all. So, yeah, I haven't seen it. I mean, I do follow the Marvel series just because it was so big and it was so fun to follow for a while. I do think it's getting a little big. But I wasn't a huge moviegoer either. I live 20 minutes from my nearest theater, and that's not a huge theater. It's a 1 theater building kind of thing. So movies weren't exactly a huge option for me. All right, let's see here. Out of all, I assume this is you. Hold on here. Denny Hamlin, 11. Denny Hamlin fan 11. Says the chat fades away. Out of all you NASCARs, which one is your I think it's your NASCARs. Which one is your favorite, and can you show it on camera? Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying now. My absolute favorite car, this is easy, and it's because it's literally right here. That is my favorite car. I got to see my favorite driver win in person. And the other thing is I did get it signed at Bristol. You can see the signature turned out really nice. Chase Elliott has a tendency to sign like in a really small mark in the upper left-hand corner of the windshield. Like he has just a tendency to do that. But for some reason, with this car specifically, when I was standing at Bristol at the Chevy stage, it was the one car he stopped, picked it up, and signed it, and then handed it back to me. And then every other person, he just kind of signed quick and kept going. So it was really cool because I just felt nice to have a really nice signature on my absolute favorite car. So it was like, that is my personal grail. Because as I said, it was crazy. There were so many people at that stage, but I had just been kind of sitting there with my car, or I had that in my car in the backpack, but I had just kind of been sitting there watching all the Chevy stuff. Bubba came by, he signed my Plan B sales car, the number 43, and then Byron and Bowman came by. I didn't have any cars for them to sign, and then then when I said signed it on the way in, and then I said there were so many people, man. It's hard to get him the autograph stuff, so it was awesome. Anyway, let's go here to AJ Gaming. I wish the Elliott Phoenix win was made in 1/64th metal chassis. Yeah, it's unfortunate they only started him in 2021 because the Larson Phoenix win will be made in metal, but it would have been really cool to have the Chase Phoenix win in metal chassis. Also, do I have a Kyle Larson Funko Pop? Nope. I've avoided those like a plague because I definitely try to stick to the diecast stuff, the stuff I know about. So I don't have any of those, unfortunately. I have had a couple in the past, but I immediately eBayed them because I bought off a collection. I was just like, nope, I don't want to start that. NASCAR Stopman says, my stop motions are strictly week-to-week recreations for every race of the Cup season. With all the wheels coming off this year, I think the rubber tires could be cool since you can remove them. Yeah, you can remove the tire, theoretically, if you break one rim, which I don't like the idea of breaking anything, but I mean, if you had to do one, you could have a wheel for pretty much every single, you use it for every single one. So, it's at the backstretch. Okay, it's at that long backstretch area. NASCAR fan says, I have a proposition. I would like to have mid 2000s ARCs only if it meant better quality released and release times. Yeah, I don't know. The thing to remember too is in 2005 they had generic everything. So they had the body and the tires and all that. And they do raced versions. Look at all the banners. You have to have a specialized banner on the windshield, specialized banner on the back of there. There's confetti caked onto these windows. Look at the rims. The rims aren't standard. So 2005 did have some simplicity to it because you didn't have all these banners and small decal details. That being said, this is just cheap plastic. Like, we got to do better than that. So I get what you're saying, but I do think we all sometimes do take for granted the fact that we do have windshield banners on front and back now and all these other little details that we never had in 2005. Chase's Champ says, I went to the Texas Fall Race in 2020. It was cold, rainy, and we didn't even get to see the race because it didn't restart until Tuesday. Oh, I remember that. That was horrible. Man, I hate going to races like that. Now, that being said, I do think I went to a colder race than you because that 2020 Kansas race where Joey held off Kevin was absolutely bitter. I'm so glad they moved that race out of October because it was so cold. It was just, you couldn't count on a good day. But it wasn't raining, and I did get to see the race, so I guess you got me beat on that one. Oh, you did not go to the top of the tower. Man, I bet it looks so cool up there. Is it open to fans? That'd be really cool if it was. Chase's Champ says, I went to the Kansas Fall Race last year. It was really sick and cold. Oh, yep, 100%. The wind was terrible, and my nose kept running. Felt like I was dying on the way back, but it was worth it, the watch. Yeah, man, I totally understand what you're saying because last year wasn't quite as cold as the year before, but the thing is, like, I'm used to that level of wind where you're just getting hit in the face with wind all day long just because I live in the part of the country. Like, when I say the flattest part, you can look to your left and right and 10 miles in either direction and there's nothing. Not a hill, not a bump. If somebody has a windmill 20 miles away, you can see it because there's nothing in the way. So, I'm kind of used to that part of it. Kansas races are always fairly easy for me because I get to stay with my cousin who lives there, right near the track. So, I don't have to worry about hotel, and we're always hanging out and having a good time. So, but that being said, I do remember it was pretty cold last year too. It definitely was a chilly one. AJ Gaming says, since Elliott and Larson are my two favorite drivers, I have every 2020 Elliott win except the Charlotte in 1/64th. So I'm going to get all the Larson 2021 in 1/64th that were produced, but in plastic chassis. Okay, well, that's good because I know they've already made the Las Vegas win. I think that one's out, but the rest are still on their way. So I think they made them all, luckily. So yeah, it'll be cool, and then you'll have them both, and they'll be equal. That Bristol win for that Valvoline car is going to be really cool. I got to see that car up close. It looked good. As long as Lionel does their job, it's going to look good. The 2020 Texas Busch win. I see what you're saying. It was on my birthday. Oh, it was on your birthday. And on my birthday 1 year later, cough, cough, I got it. I don't like Bush, but I'm happy he won in my favorite scheme of his, non non my birthday. Okay. I assume on your birthday as well. I think you have an extra end in there, but yeah, that zombie Skittle car looked good, and honestly, it was a cool race because it was the first time Kyle Busch has ever actually won a fuel mileage race. Like he has always consistently been bitten by fuel mileage races, and that was the first time he's won one, and it kept his streak going. So Chasey Champ says I hate the Midwest wind in Missouri. It's really bad. I miss the weather from when I lived in Florida. Yeah, it's cold and windy, but I do like winter. You guys have seen my snowmobile in a couple of videos, so I do like going out and enjoying the winter weather. But it does get cold. So let's see. Any idea when the next Gold Series gens? When the Gold Series next gens are going to be out? I do not. I'm not sure when any next gens are going to come out, honestly. I'm kind of in the dark on some of that. So as soon as they start coming out is when I'll have at least an idea, but I don't have any information on those, unfortunately. And AJ says he also fixed my go-kart. Or he says he fixed his own go-kart. I didn't fix it for him. I didn't do nothing. So, all right, down below here, is there more doors or wheels? Well, NASCAR fan, if you saw my one short, which I don't keep shorts on very long, I just delete them. I don't keep shorts for a long time, but I did make a short from out in my warehouse, and I will say there are more wheels because I think when people are always like, well, think about all the cabinet doors and cupboard doors and all these types of doors, I'm like, you're right. But I'm sitting on a rolly chair with 6 wheels in it. And then I drive a car with 4 wheels and a steering wheel and a spare wheel. It's still got 4 doors on it. And I guess you could call a door the glove box too. So maybe it's fairly even. But then I look at like like a piece of agriculture equipment on tracks so that doesn't have wheels. Wrong. It has 6 individual idler rollies, a big idler wheel on the front. There's tons of little wheels inside of it. I think it's wheels all the way. All right. AJ Gaming says, when I'm bored, I take my 124th Elliott Phoenix win out and do donuts. Oh, I cracked up on the toilet when I saw that. Okay. You freaked me out. I thought, I'm not going to lie, AJ Gaming. I'm going to tell you exactly what I read and what jumped into my mind, and it's not fair. But I initially read that you did crack on the toilet, and not going to lie, kind of caught me by surprise. Thank goodness I reread it, and that wasn't what was happening. But I'm just letting you know, that's how I first read it. All right. Let's see. Chaser Champ says, I went to many Bristol races. They have been rained out, and by the end, I was tired. Race rain outs are the worst. They are. I've only been race rained out once, luckily, and that was the 2013 Iowa race. But I will say, that's why I do tend to go to the fall races at Bristol. I think they just have better weather. They don't have quite as many rainouts. But that being said, it's like I do think that's a problem with Bristol in the spring. It's wet. Like sometimes maybe Bristol just needs one date. I don't know. I mean, it got rained out last year too. So, but yeah, I mean, man, I hate race rainouts. They're literally the worst thing that can happen for fans because they drove all that way, they had all the hype, and then they just have to let the hype just fall off a cliff, and that's tough. I mean, in Daytona, having that 3 years in a row, oh man, brutal. So, alrighty, guys. Well, it's late enough. I think we're gonna get hopped off here. As I said, we'll have a stream in tomorrow. I think I have a video coming out. I gotta double check if I have one ready or not. And we'll go from there. And yeah, we'll go. I'm not sure what other things we'll do. I'm getting tired. It's late. I worked all day today too. So, oh, I feel bad for Movement. He just got in here. Sorry, Movement. We're just hopping off. But if you want to hop early in the stream, we're calling it a night. So, and then yep, says working overtime. That is factual information. Busy season. So, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. Hope you guys have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow after the Cup race. We'll have a little stream going then. Hopefully it's a great race, and hopefully it doesn't have a red flag and all the other garbage we had tonight. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.